Week 3 of the college football season brings us to Baton Rouge, Louisiana. The SWAC's leading rusher, Brandon Stanza, looks to push Mississippi Valley State over the Jaguars of Southern. Thursday night football on ESPNU starts right now. Welcome to ESPNU College Football Primetime, presented by McDonald's. Mumford Stadium in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, the site for a SWAC matchup between a couple of teams looking for their first win of the season. Mississippi Valley State traveling to the Bayou to take on Southern. Welcome into the broadcast booth alongside former NFL quarterback Jay Walker, Joe Davis on hand. A couple of storied programs here that have struggled in recent years. They both now have third-year head coaches who are in need of some wins in a hurry. We start off with Mississippi Valley State. Carl Morgan, just one win over his first 2 seasons, but he thinks he's got a group that can contend in the SWAC.
It's the way that he got that first victory. He broke a losing streak. They remained competitive throughout the season, and he thought that this Valley program could be competitive in the 2012 season. They're off to an 0-2 start, so the pressure's on for them to win. And he really said it point blank, if we don't win tonight, it could make for a long season. Valley State.
Let's shift gears now to Southern with Stump Mitchell, who got here 2 years ago. 2 wins in year 1, 4 wins in year 2, trying to get closer to where Southern is used to being at the top of the SWAC.
High expectations around here in Baton Rouge for this Jaguar program. Coach Stump Mitchell's in his 3rd year of the program, succeeding legendary Coach Pete Richardson, and in doing so, he's hit some stumbling blocks along the way. But to Coach Mitchell's credit, he's got what he believes is his most competitive team yet that he's put on the field. The pressure's on. He knows it. The folks in Baton Rouge let him know it, and the Jaguar Nation is sure to remind him of the pressure every week.
The Mississippi Valley State won the toss. They've deferred Southern to receive today's opening kickoff. Couple of storied programs in search of their first win of the 2012 season, meeting up here in Baton Rouge. Virgil Williams, Jaleel Richardson back to receive Carlos Sanchez's kick. Southern in week 1 average almost 30 yards per kick return. That's 4th in FCS in the country. Senior out of San Diego gets us started from the Bayou. And it's Virgil Williams from the 6. Williams with some space and a good return into the open field to the 41. 35 yards for Williams. Latrey Jones with a stop. And Dre Joseph will bring this Southern offense out of the field. Junior out of Edgar, Louisiana, who was 12 of 19 last week. 163 yards, 1 touchdown, couple of interceptions. Very well could have been 15 or 16 for 19 if it weren't for some drop passes. A flag down and a first down throw to Michael Berry.
Pass complete. There's a flag on the play.
Eddie Kelly, our head referee today. Apollo Martin, the umpire.
Outside. Defense. Number 91. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Dre Joseph, Jay, you think has a shot to be one of the best passing quarterbacks, if not the best in this conference.
He's a traditional, he's a throwback quarterback. He's a pocket passer. He's a guy who doesn't move extremely well, but when he's in that pocket, he can pick apart a defense. A nice, clean release, good heady decisions with the football. He's really improved in his junior campaign. Looks like it could be his breakout season.
What offense, throwing again on first down and 5. Joseph takes off and has close to a first down, tackled by LaPoyer Franklin. It is enough, and the chains move with the ball at the 49.
Not the most mobile quarterback, but you can be an effective runner if you make up your mind quickly, if you know the yardage that you need, and go move the chains. Offensive coordinators around the country will always love you as a quarterback if you can scramble at 5 yards a run.
Well, the staff for Southern told us they want to establish the ground game this week. Just 80 yards in the opener against New Mexico back on September 1st. 3 straight throws to begin the day. High throw pulled down by Lee Doss for a gain of 8. working against Jeremy Johnson. And let's take a look at our impact players. We start off with Michael Berry.
Michael Berry's got to step up. Charles Hawkins, the other wide receiver, had a big game versus New Mexico, is not playing tonight. They expect for Michael Berry with his size to really stretch the opposing secondary.
Other side of the ball, LaPoyer Franklin, the defensive end.
And he's a senior defensive lineman where they can move him to an interior line position as well as play defensive end. He's got to be the guy that's got to get to Dre Joseph to apply the pressure.
Franklin, a preseason all SWAC selection. Very good defensive line for the Delta Devils, returning 3 starters from last year. First run of the day with a flag flying. Darius Coleman does have enough for a first down, but there is a flag down. Kevin Woods made the stop out of the middle linebackers.
Now, did you see that picture of LaPoyer Franklin?
He looked mean.
I know he's the impact player, but you want your defensive lineman to have that little look on him. He's got the look of a defensive lineman. I mean, look at that. See, if I want my D lineman taking pictures, I don't want him smiling. I don't want him looking too pretty, not too rough. Got to make your mama proud, but that's how you're supposed to look if you're going to be down in the trenches.
6'3", 270, senior out of Memphis. Well, with a holding penalty instead of a first down. 2nd and 12, back into their own territory. Headlines. Quentin Gibbons runs in and signals a timeout. 43rd all-time meeting between these two schools. It's been dominated by Southern, 34-8 all-time against Mississippi Valley State. And the Delta Devils have won just once, 2005, in the last 17 seasons dating back to 1992. We got a lot planned for these two teams meet up. Let's take a look at what's on tap on our broadcast. Jerry Rice played at Mississippi Valley State. We'll talk about his career as a Delta Devil and beyond. We'll look at Jay's weekend watch, what to look for this Saturday, week 3 of the college football season. And then both of these colleges under new direction as far as the athletic department goes, with a couple of very young new athletic directors. We'll talk about all that and more over the course of tonight's broadcast. Opening drive for Southern, 2nd down and 12. Joseph pressured. Another flag, probably a holding. Brian McCain, the intended receiver.
Number 72. And penalties decline. 3rd down.
So the decline to make it 3rd down and 12.
It's going to be on Chris Brown, the left tackle, 72. Good inside swim move there by Jarvis Fritz from Valley. Once you go inside, you've got that official right behind you. They can call that all the time. You've got to have agile feet if you're going to play that left tackle position. He oversold to the outside, got beat on the inside, forced to hold.
Both of these teams have struggled with penalties. 10 for 60 yards in the opener for Southern. Bobbled on the stretch play to Coleman. And he will get thrown out of bounds with another flag flying as Carlos Hollis makes the stop out of the free safety spot. Ten penalties in week 1 for Southern. There's only 4 teams in the entire country that have been penalized more than Mississippi Valley State through 2 weeks.
Holding. Offense. Number 84. And penalties decline. 4th down.
You got holding right there on the end of the line of scrimmage. And, you know, that just kind of tells you, great trigger man like, you know, Dre Joseph, throwing the ball very well. Yet they choose to run the ball on 3rd and 10 yards. I think what you have with having a pocket passer as a quarterback is you can pick up 3rd and 12, 10+ yards.
Brandon Stansel a week against Alabama State last week. And freshman punter Chase Tootin, who struggled in his debut, just 32 yards a pop. Stansel reversing field from the 15. Bad idea, and horrendous field position to begin for Mississippi Valley State as Virgil Williams made the stop.
Well, one of the advantages you have of putting some of your starting defensive backs on special teams is they can make good open field tackles like that. Williams one of the best cornerbacks for Southern University, does a good job of tackling, stands on the open field, not falling for the fake.
Lost 9 yards. A little bit of a surprise here in that we see Eddie Ivory. We thought that Garrick Jones would get the start today. Jones missing last week with a shoulder injury. Eddie Ivory made the start, was 12 of 27 for just 48 yards. Senior out of Indianola, Mississippi, not too far from Itabena. And a draw play on first down to Trey Batiste. Nowhere to go against this front seven from Southern. And it'll be second down.
Talk about the fact that Eddie Ivory's getting the call. You know, if you look at the numbers, Ivory's just a 44% passer on the year, and Garrick Jones is a 68% passer. But actually, it goes reverse because they believe Jones is the better runner. He runs the ball. They call different packages for him to run, and Ivory's what they call their pure passer.
Either way, this is a run-heavy, ball-control offense led by the SWAC's leading rusher, Brandon Stansel, who begins this possession on the bench. Thrown out of his own end zone, into traffic, and incomplete. Third down. Look for his tight end, Jake Avery. Let's take a look at our impact players. First off with Trey Batiste.
You know, this is a team that wants to run the ball, and they know about Stansel. So when all eyes are going to be on him, you've got to have another guy step up. For the case of Mississippi Valley, it's Trey Batiste. He's got 2 touchdowns rushing on the season. And for Southern University in the secondary, Virgil Williams. You saw the great play he made on special teams. They're going to need him to be the guy that can kind of control the passing game when Valley does decide to leave their run game plan and throw the football.
The passing game has improved quite a bit from early, but they're still 108th in the country. That's out of 113 teams in FCS. Stansel with a call on third down for a 20. 15 yards for Brandon Stansel, who had a career-high 167 last week at Alabama State.
Yeah, and that's the difference in philosophy. If you know you run the football well, third and long, you run it. If you throw it well, you throw it. You're going to see right there the lead draw is going to open up like daylight. Look at the vision right there. You see what he recognizes? I can get through this hole, lower the shoulder, pick up the first down. Great vision by Brandon Stansel.
Carl Morgan said that performance last week for him, which came on his birthday, by the way, not a bad way to spend your birthday. Maybe the best performance that Morgan's seen by the Devil in his 3 seasons here. The first dumps it off to Stansel. Good one-on-one tackle, Virgil Williams. And it's second down.
This Virgil Williams, I mean, he's their best, and he's a very good open field tackler. That's what you want to have. The junior from Shreveport, Louisiana, we've seen him on 2 occasions come up and just stop really good runners in their tracks. He's the kind of guy that can get it going from back there, small in size. But coach says he comes to play week in, week out, and just a junior to be the captain of that defense. Respect that his teammates have for him as well.
Preseason all-SWAC performer. The Southern defense, middle of the pack last season. Giving them about 25 points a game. They gave up 66 points in the opener.
Look at that.
Steps out of pressure once, but can't get away from this. A loss of 8, and it's Anthony Balancier, the junior out of New Orleans, with the sack.
And when you make those quarterback changes, sometimes there's a reason why another guy is the backup quarterback. You can have all the ability in the world, but if you can't figure out where you're going with the football, who you're going to hand it off to, who the fake is for, you're in no man's land. And that's the second time in this football game this evening we've seen Ivory go the wrong way with the snap of the football.
So third down at about 20 here. You went draw on third down and 11. What do you do here?
And the way they're going, they're not settled. Maybe try and catch him slipping and get the ball to Brandon Stansel in some space in the middle of the football field.
All kinds of time for Ivory. Strong throws complete, but short of the first down to Julian Stafford. They get 17. They needed 4th and 3.
Good looking throw by Ivory. Take a look at the time he's got in the pocket. Able to go through all of his progressions and find Stafford coming across the secondary in the second hole. That soft cover 2 defense that the Jaguars are playing. Almost picking up the first down, but came a couple.
Carlos Sanchez to punt it away to Virgil Williams, who we've already seen make a good special. Good punt from Sanchez. Williams with an over-the-shoulder catch. Finds a seam. And Williams out to the 38. Nathaniel Greer with a stop. Southern with its second possession of the game. Good field position for the Jaguars. ESPNU College Football Primetime presented by McDonald's. I'm loving it. Here at Southern University on the bluff overlooking the Mississippi River. A beautiful sight on this Thursday. A little bit of rain early on, but it got out of the area. And a great crowd turning out.
Home opener for the Jaguars. The Jaguar Nation is in full force. And you see the folks in the stadium. They've got about 5,000 people still tailgating in their RVs in the parking lot trying to get in.
Darius Coleman. Thrown down to the ground by Rico Shaw. On a short pickup. Coleman, a converted defensive back. Some issues as far as injuries go at running back for this Southern team and having to shuffle things around as a result.
One thing you can know about Southern is anytime you got a running back that's a head coach, that position is going to be probably the best coach position on your team. And Southern, they've got running back by committee. Stump Mitchell said we've got a bunch of durable guys. They all bring different things to the table.
And they've got a couple of former NFL running backs on this staff. We've got, of course, Stump Mitchell and then running backs coach Alvis Joseph, who's with Jacksonville in the early 2000s. Short gain, Kevin Woods with a stop, and it's 3rd and 5. This is interesting here, Jay, because they've switched from a wide open attack to a more run-oriented West Coast attack, but the numbers not as good.
Yeah, and that was the kind of the reason that Coach Richardson kind of lost his success. They thought he threw the ball way too much. They averaged 500 yards. They rushed for 130, but Stump Mitchell came in and said we're going to be more balanced. And I think the surprising number has been that they throw the football now better than they run the football. On
3rd and 5, it's broken up. Heck of a play by Kevin Woods, who's been all over the place in this first quarter. And a 3-and-out for the Jaguars.
And Southern cannot afford to have 3-and-outs, and you're going to see Joseph here try to get the ball to Barry, but great defense play by Kevin Woods, the inside linebacker for Valley. This is the home opener for Southern University. Talked about in the open. He's clearly on the hot seat. He knows it. This place is used to scoring a lot of points. You start off your first 2 drives in front of your home crowd, not putting any points on the board. You need to silence the critics and get the offense going in a hurry.
Week 2 bye for Southern, Jay. They've not played since September 1st, and you got to figure that's got something to do with the sloppy start. Stanza went backwards on his first punt return. Here he lets this one bounce, and a good punt for Chase Tootin of 51 yards. So Mississippi Valley State backed into its own end zone to begin this possession. Saturday night on ESPNU, the Kentucky Wildcats look to knock off an in-state fall. They take on the Hilltoppers of Western Kentucky. Maxwell Smith holds the reins to the Kentucky quick strike offense. Hilltoppers and Cats Saturday at 7 on ESPNU. Take a look at our national news and notes. How about Notre Dame making an agreement with the ACC?
That's big news, too. But what about the little guys? 4 FCS schools knocking off FBS schools in week 2. We're watching FCS football here. It's one of the more nice things to see in college football when little guys win. And I think we saw the upsets that you had. I don't know if there was a bigger upset than Louisiana Monroe up the state a little bit, knocking off Arkansas in the state of Arkansas, not in Fayetteville, but in Little Rock. What do they call it? The Shock?
Yeah.
At the Rock.
Shock at the Rock. So Eddie Ivory is still in the game.
What's he doing?
What? You don't like his equipment?
That's an equipment. He should be penalized right now. In college football, you must wear your mouthpiece. I haven't seen him put it in all game.
Stanzel slips out of a tackle. Well, it should have been a loss of a yard. Turns into a decent gain across the 10 to make it 3rd down and manageable.
You know, when you come out and break the huddle, you're allowed to talk and keep it out when you're on the field. But once you break the huddle, what are you doing with that right there, young man? You got to put that in your mouth. You know, and as a quarterback, I don't really like having it. I used to cut my mouthpiece down and make it as small as possible. But you've got to put it in there. You kind of wonder why the officials aren't giving a warning.
He's going to leave it there.
It's been there all game.
3rd down and 3. And the ball is never snapped. Flag flies.
Offense. Number 78. 5-yard penalty. Third down.
Now, Joe, you know about the quarterback position. What happened on that last play?
Center didn't snap the ball.
Center forgot to snap count.
Yeah.
You've got the rest of the offensive line that went lunging forward. The center stayed still.
It's not a fun feeling there, leaning back, not feeling the ball come.
Yeah. Bad things normally happen.
So instead of 3rd down and 3, it'll be 3rd down and 8 for a team that struggled mightily in these situations in the first 2 games. Into a tight window, pulled down by Richard Drake. Well, they'll say that he was out of bounds. Good looking throw from Ivory, but Drake couldn't get his feet down. And it's 4th down.
They brought the blitz there, and Ivory did a good job of standing tall in the pressure. Drake catching the ball at its highest point, but clearly that right foot comes down on that yellow paint. Just that close to having a 3rd down conversion. Instead, have to settle for another punt attempt.
It's Marquand Webster, a freshman out of North Las Vegas with the defense. Carlos Sanchez, who had a good punt his first time out again.
They need to be very careful punting the ball to Virgil Williams. I mean, he's shown that he's one of the better athletes on the field tonight. He's got big play capability.
From his own 48, sets up his blockers and explodes down the sideline. More good field position for Southern, but there is a flag down behind the play.
During the run, blocking the back, number 17 on the receiving team. 10 yards from the end of the run. 1st down.
3rd penalty already for Southern, so it was very good field position. Not nearly as good now. No score, 5.5 left in this first quarter in Baton Rouge.
You can't do that. I mean, we talk about the quarterback playing without a mouthpiece. Nobody, I don't know what the Howard Bison mascot looked like. If I walked across him today, I wouldn't know. Now they're going to know what the mascot looks like.
That's going to scare some kids.
Yeah, you can't do that.
That's the Red Devil, not a human.
The Delta Devil.
The Delta Devil, not a human.
Yeah, and it's hot down there. You see, got the water right there. But you don't expect the Delta Devil to have a water bottle right there. Look, doing it again.
Just wants to see the game, Jay. Tough to see it through that Delta Devil mask.
You can see through that. You used
Not
to be
well.
your team's mascot. I mean, did you ever show your face when you were the mascot?
Come on. Had I been? No. Mask stays on. This game marred by penalties early on. And we see now the tailback Sylvester Nzikwe, Jay, who was the leading rusher for this team last year, but has not played yet this season, battling a high ankle sprain. 5th-year senior out of Seattle, trying to give them a boost in the running game. Another flag down. Joseph across the 40. LaProyer Franklin with a stop.
Nigga offense. 5-yard penalty. 1st down.
And now I think this is where the week off is kind of hurting Southern. You know, they played the opening week of the season, then they were off last week. Normally by week 3, you don't get those illegal formation type of penalties because you've got game reps underneath your belt. But for Southern, you might see some of those penalties right now. It doesn't make it acceptable. You know, you got to know where you line up before you snap the ball.
What would you prefer as a player, the 2 weeks off or the 4 days off like Mississippi Valley State?
4 days. You know, football players want to play football as quickly as possible, particularly if you're coming off of a loss. 2 weeks is a long time to hold on to a loss.
On 1st down and 15, it's Terrence Clayton
That's
Jr.
got to be a face mask. His helmet, oh, that's scary. His helmet got turned around.
Kevin Haymore.
Personal foul.
And this is a yank.
Gets the defense. 15 yards over to the end of the run. 1st down.
Jameel Franklin got a hold of the face mask. The flag fest continues.
And that's scary when you get hold of and you don't let go. And that's when they come up with these helmet rules and with all the player safety right now that the NCAA is trying to implement. 15 yards doesn't seem like enough for a takedown like that.
Bruce down in 10 from the 45, and a draw play for Darius Coleman. First real good running play today for Southern as he runs for a first down to the 34 on a gain of 12.
Good job of running behind that offensive line. When they took on New Mexico, University of New Mexico in week 1, they had some success running the football a little bit, throwing the football. The holes were there. I'm sure that they thought that once they got in the conference play, they should have a real dominating line. And right now you can tell they're trying to force the running game, trying to win the battle of the line of scrimmage in the trenches.
They didn't think New Mexico should have been able to stop them. There were a lot of drops and 4 turnovers. Darius Coleman again for a good first down gain where Carlos Hollis stops him after a gain of 6.
And this is how you know you've got a good running team that gets it. Anytime you can run against 8 defenders in the box. Look at that, count the numbers you see right here. That's the key. You are not supposed to be able to pick up positive yards when you're running 6 or 7 versus 8. 8 men in the box, they gain 5 yards on the ground. Offensive coordinator's dream, forcing the running game. That's how you outwill your opponent.
Well, Mississippi Valley State has been really good. They're one of the top defenses in the country, top 25 in the country statistically through 2 games. Nowhere to run on this second down play. It was Coleman again, and it'll be 3rd down and about 6.
I think that Carl Morgan, who's the head coach for Mississippi Valley, as well as the defensive coordinator, has sensed that they're going to start pounding the football. So what did he do? He brought down an extra defender, strong free safety, Carlos Hollis, and had him blitz from the outside to contain the outside to stop the running game.
Southern, second charge.
Second timeout of the half for Southern. We'll be back with a 3rd down and 6 after this.
Lakewood versus Narbonne tomorrow.
One of the best bands in the country, the Human Jukebox, as it's known, routinely seen in a Rose Bowl parade all over the place. These guys, very entertaining bunch. Trying to fire up this crowd for a big 3rd down and 6. Southern in week 1 was 7 for 13 on 3rd down. They're 0 for 2 so far today. Joseph will dump it off for Coleman. Open field tackle, well done, and it's 4th down. Up to make the stop was Jeremy Johnson, the sophomore corner.
And that's who they say is the toughest guy on the team. Pound for pound, Coach Morgan said he's 5'9", 170 pounds. If he had 4 more inches, he would be All-American. But look at the effort here. When you've got an offensive lineman out front, it's all effort. Get around him. Use your size to your advantage to go around that big guy, make the open field tackle, and stop the potential for a 1st down game.
Yeah, really, Johnson, the only guy that was out there.
I mean, that was solo. If he didn't make that tackle, then that could have easily been a touchdown. What a great job by Jeremy Johnson coming up from the cornerback position.
So the punter from the 33-yard line. Tootin trying to pin him. Stanzo will call for a fair catch at the 10. And for Mississippi Valley State, this entire quarter has been played in this end, but they've got to be pleased that despite the poor field position, no score.
It is, and you know, you talk about the leadership that you get there as we take a look. The return guy, he's counting. Let me make sure. That's Stancil back there. You don't want to have a good return for not. We'll give you a little fact on the Human Jukebox as you hear him blowing us out. You know how they got that name?
How'd they get it?
Dr. Isaac Graves, who's one of the legendary guys, told me the story. He said back in the heydays when you used to have the top 20, top 15, he said if you gave them a quarter, they could play anything in the top 20. And therefore, they became known as the Human Jukebox.
Average starting field position for Mississippi Valley State, the 7. This one begins from the 10. It stands on exploding through the hole. And a shoestring tackle made by Jonathan Mack on a 1st down gain of 16 for the senior from Rowland Heights, California.
Yeah, Stanzel's got that quick first step that you like to have in your running back. Once he sees daylight, he gets there in a hurry. It doesn't take him long to get from 0 to 60. showing you how he was able to rush for 177 yards last week versus Alabama State. Trying to pick up where he left off.
It's run-heavy ball control offense, speeding it up some here. Fourth touch of the day for Stanzel. And boy, a nice burst, goes through a small hole to get 4 or 5 yards on first down.
And this is when you know you got a special running back. They leave the end man on the line of scrimmage unblocked for Southern University. He still cannot make the open field tackle when he's unblocked on Stanzel. Stanzel saw it, recognized it, made a cut to the inside, picked up 5 yards.
Averaged a little more than 10 yards a carry last week at Alabama State. He's got 4 rushes for 40 yards so far today.
Get over, get over. Wait on it. Wait on it.
Southern shouting that there was movement.
False start. Offense. Number 73. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Trevin Wallace, freshman from Memphis, called.
And that's a freshman mistake. You get him on the road in front of this crowd. Lack of focus. Offensive coordinator Ramon Flanagan from Mississippi Valley has got to think we just had a positive yard run for 5 yards. Now we're right back where we started. Almost like an incomplete pass when you come out and it's 2nd and 10.
Eddie Ivory still got that mouthpiece in his face mask. Bubble screen on 2nd down for Julian Stafford, and he's stacked up after a short game. Javon Allen was there to lead the charge.
Good look there. Ramon Flanagan was on the coaching staff at North Texas State for some years, and Carl Morgan, the head coach, has a lot of faith in him. Thinks he's got a good young mind there.
Third down and 8. And we will play this 3rd down to begin the 2nd quarter. So no score after 15 minutes here in Baton Rouge. These two storied programs in search of their first win of the 2012 season. A 3rd down and 8 for Mississippi Valley State when we come back to Mumford Stadium. Back on ESPNU College Football Primetime, presented by McDonald's. No score after a quarter back here at Mumford Stadium. Opened in 1928, and it gives the Southern Jaguars, you say, Jay, one of the top home field advantages in HBCU.
It won't make me any fans, but I'm just going to tell like I see it. Southern University, because of the fan base, very special. They come here, the food's good, you're eating all day. Jackson State, year in, year out, one of the tops in attendance and all of it. Florida A&M, home of Jake Gaither and Bob Hayes. 2, South Carolina State, Orangeburg, not easy to get to, very tough. And number 1, uh-oh, I said it here.
You're in trouble.
Grambling. Very tough to get to Grambling by plane, train, automobile, however, and they win a lot of football games at home.
Ivory will tuck it and run for a first down gain before he's toppled at the 37 by Demekus Cook. Ivory not supposed to be the better with the 2 quarterbacks when it comes to dual threat, but here he shows off the legs.
So we talked about Drayton on the other team. The key with being a successful dual threat quarterback is having the ability to know when to run and when not to run. If the defense gives it to you, know the down and distance and the yardage needed and make a quick decision.
Ivory checks to the sideline for this first down call. And goes to Brandon Stanzel. Stanzel stays on his feet. Across midfield to the 44. 19 yards, and the senior gassing the Southern defense early.
He's got the ability to run very well from the shotgun. They give him the shotgun read. He's got great vision, gets to daylight. Like every good running back, the first guy's not going to have the ability to bring him down. He's going to make him miss. Good shake in a small space, bounce to the outside. This is a special running back they've got down in Itabena, Mississippi.
6 carries, 59 yards for the junior college transfer. Into Southern territory for the first time. Stanzel pushes the pile forward on this first down play. And the coaches said that there might have been a lot of people, and there were a lot of people around HBCU surprised when Stanzel had that 167-yard performance last week, but they weren't surprised. They said that the day that he stepped on campus as a JUCO transfer, they knew how special he could be.
You can tell, football player to football player, when somebody's got it. That you see it in practice. They show you the ability to work hard in the weight room, and they put a couple moves on a couple guys in practice. Football players know when you've got a special talent.
Trey Batiste comes in. Play action on second down. Ivory with the defense collapsing back to the original line of scrimmage. Jeremy Coleman was there on the stop with D-Train Lindsey. It ended to be 3rd down and 10 for Mississippi Valley State.
And if they can ever get a passing game to go along with Stanzel's talent running the football, this can be a very potent offense. They've got some really big, tall wide receivers on the outside, and Drake and Stafford. And you can tell the respect that the opposing team gives to their running game. They crowd the box, one-on-one coverage on the outside. If I'm a quarterback like Eddie Ivory, I've got to be getting excited. Look at this. It's obvious pass situation. Southern is still keeping 6 guys around the line of scrimmage, knowing they're going to run the football.
Speed option, which Southern did not defend well in the opener against New Mexico. Here they drop him for a 4-yard loss. Demekus Cook there along with Corey Roy, and it's 4th down.
Speed option, they're going to option the end man on the line of scrimmage. First guy that shows means you got to pitch the football when it's called this way by design. Going down the line, first guy to show, got to get rid of it. Too many blue jerseys surrounding the football. Schematically, they knew that Mississippi Valley was going to run the football. That's why, even though the Delta Delvas went to 4 wide receivers, they still kept 6 guys around the line of scrimmage.
Lee Doss back to receive this punt from Carlos Sanchez. So Virgil Williams not in this time. Line drive kick to give Doss a chance. And he'll lose a couple of yards. Southern with the football when we come back. We'll look ahead to Saturday with Walker's Weekend Watch when we come back to Baton Rouge.
Jonathan Dwyer, the Ramblin' Wreck, they're getting close. They've got a great challenge coming up versus Virginia.
Hard to believe we're going to be a quarter of the way through the regular season after this weekend.
Is that right? Yeah, I guess so, yeah. 3 weeks, 4 times 3. Our university math says it's 12, so that's right.
That's 2 weeks in a row that education's paid off for you. You got another math problem right last Saturday.
And you saw right there, Drake Joseph went back to get his mouthpiece. So we've got Eddie Ivory playing without one on his helmet, and Drake Joseph realizes you got to have one.
Goes underneath on first down, and it's dropped by Lee Doss. They had all kinds of drops last week, along with 4 turnovers. This is a wide receiver core, Jay, that should be the strength of this team.
That's what they said in their opening loss. They were disappointed by the number of drops. And when you talk to Coach Mitchell, what did he reiterate over and over? The drops on first down really hurt you. And there again, they come out another first down drop ball, 2nd and 10.
This week at practice, a drop meant that they were pulled. Wide receiver coach Jorge Baez said he'll only play the guys this week that caught the ball consistently during practice. Charles Hawkins not playing, but because of a hamstring injury, not because he dropped any during practice. 2nd and 10, strong throw with a flag down at the line of scrimmage. This one caught by Lee Doss. Jeremy Johnson with the coverage.
And there's a receiver downfield, number 80 on the offense. 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
I'm telling you, Southern, they need to get their act together. I mean, right now, they've had the ability to move the football, throwing it and running a little bit, but they've got 0 points on the scoreboard. You let a team come into your home field and you don't jump on them early. If they've got no points, and Southern is yet to cross midfield, and they've got nothing to show for it. If you're on the road, that's all you want to do is hang around and put yourself in a position to win the game at the end. And if Southern's not going to put Valley away, it's going to make for a tougher ball game than it has to be.
Both teams struggling with penalties early on. On 2nd and 15, room for Joseph to run across the 20 to set up a 3rd down and manageable. A gain of 16. And it'll be 3rd and 5.
Last year, over 319 yards per game total offense. And this year, they expect the offense to carry this team. When you talk to Coach Mitchell, who's the offensive coordinator, he said, we should be able to outscore everybody in our conference. Defensively, we're stout. We're good enough to win. But it should be our offense that is the focal point of this team. And right now, they've got a donut on the scoreboard.
Timeout. Southern.
3rd of the half. They're done for these first 30 minutes. So we talked about being nearly a quarter of the way through the college football season, and this is the AP Top 10 through 2 weeks.
We've got some special teams there. Obviously, I think USC gets the first big test of the season when they take on Stanford. LSU, Auburn, I mean, you got to give advantage Alabama. I mean, LSU and Alabama, I think you give advantage Alabama simply because, not because they won one of the contests against them last year, but, you know, McCarron's playing at a high level. They've developed a quarterback where LSU is still trying to find one. You know, Oklahoma, I've always thought that's going to be the team that's going to sneak into BCS. I think if there's going to be an outside guy, because rarely will number 1 and 2 make it all the way, those are the ones I think you got to watch out for.
Now we got a full day on Saturday. Get you started at 9. Chris Fowler and the boys get it started with College Game Day, built by the Home Depot. At 10, it's a special college football edition of Sports Nation. And at 11, college football whip around. College football Saturday starting at 9 on ESPNU.
Now, Joe, I can't let you slide. Now, you're a football guy, too. Which one of those teams do you think, outside of the top 3, can you see playing for a BCS championship?
I'm going to have to go with the Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
Get out of here. Last time I asked you that question all year.
3rd down and 4, throw way over the head of Michael Berry. And it'll be 4th down. This is a Southern team that was really good. We're talking top 10 in the country on 3rd down in the opener, but 0 for 4 now. Speaking of the Fighting Irish, big news this week.
Did you really mean that about them?
No.
Okay. But the big news, going to the ACC, you know, if you think they've been setting you up slowly but surely, they've kind of eased into it. And Big East is saying you can't go so fast. Wait a minute, you owe us some cash. College football landscape continues to change right in front of us.
Short punt from Tootin, but it gets a good bounce to the 47. Now Mississippi Valley State trying to crank up the offense in a scoreless game here in Baton Rouge.
Introducing Tropical Island Grill only at Golden Corral. This is island cooking at its best. It's breaded Cozumel Island shrimp, Fiji lemon pepper tilapia, and much more. It's all part of our endless dinner buffet, still for one low price, and it's only at Golden Corral.
ESPNU College Football Primetime brought to you by Golden Corral. Help yourself to happiness. And the 2012 Fiat 500. Visit FiatUSA.com. Looking at the old state capitol building in downtown Baton Rouge. Built back in 1847. Held the state legislature until 1929. Now it's the Museum of Political History. Really beautiful spots in downtown Baton Rouge. Possession begins at the 46, and Ivory to throw in the flats for Richard Drake. Stafford unable to get a block, and running him down to make the tackle, Franchot West.
And this is an offense that doesn't have the concept of what you do on wide receiver screens, because they don't do it that often. This is the perfect play selection here. Wide receiver screen, they're loading the box. You've got a wide receiver here with nobody to block. 2-on-1, you've got to pick up big yardage. Wide receiver didn't know where to go. He's dancing, surprised he's so wide open. Minimal gain on a perfect play call.
Drake, a Middle Tennessee transfer, trying to get him more and more involved in this offense.
See, versus this look, you've got to be able to throw the football. One-on-one coverage across the board.
Ivory will look to throw, but no time. And sacked back at the 39. He loses 9 yards as D-Train Lindsey gets in there along with Casey Narcisse, the redshirt junior, and 3rd and a mile.
The problem you're going to have is if you don't show you can throw the ball on zone, then they're just going to bring everybody in the box and tell them look for the running back, and if you find the quarterback, okay. This was not a blitz. This was just good pressure. 4 defensive linemen got there. They run block well, the Mississippi Valley offensive line, but it seems as if the pass protection's been a little bit suspect and shaky at times tonight.
So far on the season for Mississippi Valley State, they're 7 for 32 on third down. They set up a 3rd and 17. It's hard to improve that. 8:43 left in this first half. Mississippi Valley State could use a guy named Jerry Rice for this 3rd and 17. We'll talk him when we come back. A storied football past for Mississippi Valley includes Jerry Rice, who's a Delta Devil in the early 1980s. When he got the nickname World, there wasn't a ball in the world that he couldn't catch. 29 years ago, Jay, in a game against Southern, he caught 24 passes, which still stands as the FCS single game record. 16th overall pick of the 49ers in 1985, played 20 NFL seasons, a 12-time Pro Bowler. Unfortunately for Mississippi Valley, not on the field for this 3rd and 17, but Brandon Stanzel is into Southern territory on a gain of 14, and it's going to be 4th and short.
You talk about Jerry Rice, you see the number statistics. To me, I mean, greatest wide receiver I've ever seen. I played in the NFL when Rice was still doing his thing, and I mean, he was a weapon there, and I think some of those numbers won't be broken. I mean, you talk about a guy that's scored more touchdowns than some of the top 5 running backs in the history of the game. He was outstanding, and for many years I covered HBCU football with Charlie Mills, the voice of Black College, for so many decades, and he always says the best game he ever saw was Mississippi Valley versus Southern. He said whoever had the ball last you knew was going to win, and he said that's when he knew Jerry Rice was a special player.
October 1st, that game, 29 years ago. Virgil Williams on the return. And there's a flag down behind it.
And that's tough because that flag came after Williams had already passed him for the block there. Williams is special. He's got that good vision that you need to have to be a special returner. Unfortunately, it looks like this return was for naught.
During the return, hold it. Return team, number 82, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Thomas Jackson called for the penalty. This is huge, Jay, in a game where both teams struggling to find offense. This shifts field position.
Yeah, and just struggling. They're going to call that hold there, and you can tell he was by him on that one. The hold already came and went. Virgil Williams had already gone past. You want to say no need to hold in that situation, but you're down on the field. You just think, I don't want my guy to be the one that makes the tackle.
Instead of beginning the drive near the 40, they start at the 10. Darius Coleman behind Brian McCain. And a draw play on first down. Coleman sidesteps into space, up to the 19.
They're going with the little draw play there, and Coleman showing you good room 5 yards downfield before Kevin Woods is able to get a hand on him. They just have to have the ability to put it together. They've shown flashes of being able to run the ball effectively. They've shown flashes of being able to throw the ball, but they never seem to have both working at the same time. And both teams are showing flashes of penalties, showing that they know how to get called for a foul.
2nd and 1, Coleman again. Out to the 30. Well, 2 ranked teams in the top 20, highlighting Saturday Night Football on ABC.
Would you like to see the running back from Michigan State going head up in the hole against the middle linebacker from Notre Dame?
Le'Veon Bell against Manti Te'o.
Woo, collision.
Coleman gets hit before he even has the football. Robert Simpson is there on the stop. That's his 7th tackle for a loss this season, which leads the SWAC by a wide margin.
And he's doing that from an interior line position. Number 98 right there in the middle of your screen. Get off your guy, hold up, hold him stout, and bring him down. That's how you measure how good your defense is. If you can get a number of defensive linemen, what they call TFLs, tackles for losses, makes things a lot easier in the secondary.
Javaris Fritz was also there. A couple of 3-year starters on that defensive line. The strength of this unit. Play action on 2nd and 13. Off of the hands of Michael Berry. And we see Southern struggling on 3rd down tonight. When you're in 3rd down and 12, it's going to be tough.
It's going to be very tough, and that's why you've got to think on your 2nd down play call. If it's 2nd and 13, you don't need to pick up all 13 yards. You can pick up 7 or 8 and make 3rd down a little bit more manageable. Now you're facing another 3rd and 13, putting yourself behind the 8 ball. And I'm going to tell you, if they go into the locker room with 0 points on the board, it's going to be very hard for Coach Mitchell to justify that to these Jaguar fans.
This Mississippi Valley defense has held opposing offenses to 4 of 30 on 3rd down so far this season. Steps into the pocket, steps out of a tackle, and throws it incomplete. Was looking for Darius Coleman. Javaris Fritz was there on the pressure, and a flag comes in late.
Dead ball. Personal foul. 37 defense. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
And that goes on Brandon Poe, a junior linebacker from Selby, Mississippi. What a huge call that is.
Your defense did the good job of getting off the field and 3 and out. And then they call that, and that's just one that has got head coach Carl Morgan just scratching his head. But, you know, as we talked about in between the commercial break, those are the things that teams that have won 1 game in 2 years do. They make those type of penalties. Really hurt them. Joseph goes through his read, breaks contain, and ball just slips out of his hands. I mean, this ball wasn't hit. He's running with it. And as he was trying to protect the football, got it too close to his body. Tough break there by the junior quarterback.
They turned it over 4 times against New Mexico week 1. Here's the first turnover of their 2nd game. And the best starting field position for Mississippi Valley, trying to break this scoreless tie. Belted at the line of scrimmage. Batiste loses 2. Kadeem Lewis was there along with Javon Allen. 2nd and 12.
I wouldn't be surprised if you saw a quarterback change at some point for Mississippi Valley. They talked about Garrett Jones, and before the game they said he will play in this contest. Well, you've got to think, with no points on the board going in for the half, offense has done nothing besides just running the football. Unless Eddie Ivory can put some points on the board before the half, I doubt he starts the 2nd half.
Shovel pass to the short side of the field, and Stanzel gets tripped up after a short gain. Casey Narcisse there on the stop. Goes as a reception for Stanzel, and it's 3rd down and a little longer than 10.
And there's absolutely no respect for the passing game of Mississippi Valley being shown by Southern University. I mean, this is going to be an obvious passing situation with 3rd and 11, and I'm pretty sure that Southern's still going to keep 6 guys around the line of scrimmage. They don't even care how many wide receivers they bring out. Right now they've got 4 wide receivers and a running back. But look, you still see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and a 7th guy coming close to the line of scrimmage. That's disrespect for your passing game.
They bring 5 and get pressure with it. Across his body and complete to Kenneth Dabney. All that for a gain of about 5 to the 40. Corey Roy was there to make the tackle. It's 4th down and 7, and here comes the punt team.
You know, you got to get comfortable in the pocket there. Step up in the pocket. Nothing good normally happens for a quarterback running backwards. He was fortunate to complete the pass. But the rhythm, passing the ball, has never been a comfort level in throwing the football this evening for Eddie Ivory.
Both punters have been busy in this first half. Virgil Williams had a good return, wiped out by a penalty his last time. Southern will set up the return. That will bounce into the end zone. Well, Eddie Ivory not able to get anything going for this Mississippi Valley offense so far. How about Garrett Jones, the senior who started week 1? Not on the field yet.
For over 2nd and 11, they're not in their hurry-up offense now. If they get the first down, on one of these next 2 plays, then you got to look for the Jaguars to do up-tempo and put some points on the board.
They fake the Coleman. Almost intercepted. Could have been 6 for Jameel Franklin. The junior had it go through his hands, and it's 3rd and 11.
And he's covered all the way. You've got to see this. He's running underneath him. He's looking for him. I mean, he's underneath that throw. You've either got to go over the top of that linebacker or go someplace else with the football. But I don't know if you play coverage any better than that. Jameel Franklin did a good job of looking up the route, covering it, did everything but pick off the ball. And had he got the interception, that would have been a touchdown.
When you're a team that's won 1 game in the last 2 years, that's a play you got to make.
It's a play you got to make, but also because their record shows they've won 1 game, that's why they don't make the play, and they've only got 1 victory. In the right place, right time, they just didn't convert.
On 3rd and 11. Incomplete. What a rough start to this game for Dre Joseph. It was just 3 for 11 through the air.
He's not seeing anything right now, Joe. Number 80, Michael Berry, was wide open from the very beginning. He's here in the slot. Show me who covers him. Show me one guy covering him. 10 yards down the field, turn around, make a catch. That was a blown coverage. When you get your pre-snap read, you're looking for your best matchup. If a safety's 15 yards deep and you've got your go-to wide receiver uncovered, you got to see him and get him the football. Look at this.
A special teams mistake.
Wheels are falling off.
And Mississippi Valley's got it 1st down and goal. Chase Tootin, the punter, unable to hold on to it. It was recovered by Charles Moore, redshirt freshman out of Greenville, Mississippi.
Look at this. I mean, ball, perfect snap. Just dropped it. Team that hasn't had the ability to drive the ball downfield. Now you're going to reward them with great field position. Whoa. What is going on right now with this Jaguar football team in their home opener? Give credit to the kids from Itabena, Mississippi. They didn't get intimidated, get caught up.
So on 1st and goal, they bring in Trey Batiste behind Joe Nathan Davis. Power play on 1st down, and Mississippi Valley capitalizes on the special teams mistake. Rushing touchdown number 3 of the season for Batiste, and it's 6-0 Delta Devils.
You knew he was getting the football. I mean, for as well as Stanzel runs the ball, when they get the ball in short yardage situation, Trey Batiste is going to get the carry. They bring him in the game for a reason, and just look at the surge. Following that big fullback there, good lead block there by Greer, that's Jonathan Davis, number 49, standing up the linebacker in the hole. Easy score for the Delta Devils.
Kevin Monzoon, a sophomore from Crystal Springs, has his extra point blocked. But a chance to run this back for 2. But the ball smothered back at the 35.
When you win 1 game, you do things like this. You get an opportunity to go up by a touchdown and an extra point. Bobbled on the hold by Jones. Took him a long time to get that ball down. And look at this snap. He gets it. He bobbles it. He drops it. Good patience by the kicker. But at that point, that's all you can do is trying to swing your leg through there. But you've got to catch that ball if you're Garrett Jones.
In a week 1 loss against a Division II school, Concordia College, Mississippi Valley was 1 for 3 on PATs, 0 for 1 on field goals. 1-point loss.
Imagine had they just made an extra point, made a field goal here or there. But
Delwyn Williams blocked that one.
And that one there, that's solely on the holder. I mean, that ball was there. Garrett Jones, quarterback, you make the catch, put it down. And what happens when you miss that extra point, you give another team hope. They think, hey, all we've got to do is score a touchdown and we're back in the lead. Put them down by 7, they've got to be thinking we've got to score just to tie this football game. Now they're thinking we're just a play away from taking over possession of the league. This is their best offensive player for them tonight, Virgil Williams.
Who's the starting corner?
He's the starting cornerback, but on his returns, he's been phenomenal.
Good high kick from Carlos Sanchez. And Williams from the 13 with Richardson in front. And Williams into Mississippi Valley territory. 42-yard return to set up solid field position for the Jaguars.
At some point, I believe Mississippi Valley is going to start figuring out a way to keep the ball away from him. Kick it away from him. They tried the high pooch kick, but they didn't surround it. Following his lead blocker. Look at that. The lead blocker doesn't get touched. Goes inside, then goes outside. He's been close to breaking one all evening long.
The Jaguars will take over 1st and 10 from the Valley 47.
So now Dre Joseph under a minute and a half left in this opening half, trying to get into some rhythm. 4-man pressure gets to him. And if you're Southern, that can't happen.
Cannot. They're playing cover 2. They're only rushing 4. And Southern always keeps a running back in the backfield for extra protection. Just in this case, they've got the running back there to help out. Defensive ends just applying the pressure, get to Joseph to bring him down.
Robert Simpson with his 3rd sack of the season. This time Joseph takes off. Back to the original line of scrimmage where Kevin Woods puts an end to the play. And it's 3rd down. Coming up on the State Farm halftime report, Jim Calhoun retiring. Big East battle between South Florida and Rutgers. Marquee matchups for Saturday. That pass incomplete, and it's 4th down as he went to the sideline for Thomas Jackson. And a chance here with great field position for Southern to do something. Unable. You got to punt it here, don't you?
I think you do. I mean, don't give them the ball back in case you don't get it right here where they can at least try and go towards the end zone. Offensive line, no protection there at all for Joseph. Robert Simpson really stepped up his game. The defensive tackle for Mississippi Valley got a sack and also a pressure to force Joseph to leave the pocket.
And Chase Tootin, whose bobble of the last snap led to the only score of this game.
Chase Tootin. Remember his dad?
Yeah.
Rich Tootin? NFL punter for a long time.
Stanza with a fair catch back at the 12.
You got to think with Southern not having any timeouts, take a knee.
Yeah.
I think you're Carl Morgan very fortunate to go into halftime with the lead.
We mentioned State Farm halftime report coming up. Jim Calhoun stepping down at UConn. USF and Rutgers tonight in the Big East battle, and we'll look ahead to some of the marquee matchups on Saturday here in week 3 of the college football season. Well, it's still Eddie Ivory on the depth chart. Garrick Jones listed as the starter.
And at this point, just to take a knee, you don't want to chance the quarterback center exchange. You keep Ivory in there just to let him take a knee. You got to be kidding me.
No.
Illegal substitution. Offense. 5-yard penalty. 1st down.
They only had a few seconds to fit that in, and they did.
It's still early in the football season.
6th penalty of the half on Carl Morgan's team. Doesn't mean much. They're just going to run the clock here. Content with a 6-0 lead. Looking for just their 2nd win in the last 3 seasons. And Southern, after a week 2 bye, struggling here. Guess what?
No.
Illegal formation. Offense. Oh. 1st down.
And the bad thing about it is Southern's gone through all their timeouts, so they can't do anything about it. See, if they had a timeout or two that kept some of their timeouts, the team's moving backwards, you just keep calling timeouts and make them punt it. Now, I mean, Southern can't do anything.
It's probably not a mistake that this victory formation, as it's known, is a little unfamiliar to these guys.
That's a good call, Joe.
1 win in the last 2 seasons, but a 6-0 lead as his first half clock winds down. Carl Morgan's team here in Baton Rouge trying to get a road victory over Southern. Let's head to the studio for the State Farm halftime report. Rich Hollenberg, Charles Arbuckle, and Jason Sehorn.
Welcome to the State Farm.
You're watching ESPNU College Football Primetime, presented by McDonald's. 6-0 Mississippi Valley State on the road here in Baton Rouge with a lead over Southern at halftime. Back into our broadcast booth, former NFL quarterback Jay Walker, Joe Davis on hand. A sloppy first half, and the most sloppy play came on special teams, leading to the only score of the game.
I mean, neither offense had the ability to move the ball down the field consistently, so ultimately special teams paid off. Mississippi Valley took advantage of the muff punt, and they've got the advantage at halftime.
Well, Southern against New Mexico week 1 had more than 300 yards. Nothing doing in this first half. Let's take a look at the State Farm. Get to a better state, State Farm.
And for them, it all starts with the offensive line. You've got to protect your quarterback, Greg Joseph. And you see right here, they've got the perfect protection drawn up, even with an extra guy in the block versus a 5-man rush. But what happens? This should be a solid wall. Joseph should be able to get comfortable in the pocket. Breakdown in protection. You've got green jerseys chasing him out there. Nowhere to go. So what do? Locate their best player. It's been Robert Simpson for them. They've got a double team on Robert Simpson in the middle of the defense. But is that enough? No, it's not. Simpson comes around, beats a double team, gets the hit on the quarterback. Finds Simpson again in the running game. 2 blockers on him. They should be able to stop him. Yet, he's still able to get in the backfield and contribute for a tackle for a loss. If they want to get to a better state, it starts with better offensive line play by the Jaguars.
The Mississippi Valley State deferred to the second half, so they'll get the ball off of the kick from Gregory Pittman. And it's Kenneth Dabney to receive this bouncing ball. Dabney back to the 21. And that's where Mississippi Valley State will begin. Here are our first half stats. Neither team doing much on offense. The Delta Devils just 88 total yards. For Southern, almost as many penalty yards as they have total yards.
2 yards per offensive pass, per offensive play, period. The offense was supposed to carry this team. They've got nothing to show for it, and penalties are killing them. Both teams struggling to get it going, but if you're Valley, you can at least say we've got a running game that's kept us in this thing. For Southern, it's been nothing.
Eddie Ivory stays in the game, senior out of Indianola, Mississippi. A little bit of a surprise that he started ahead of Garrett Jones, who started week 1, missed week 2 with a shoulder injury. Ivory getting his second straight start. Stretch play for Stanzel, the SWAC's leading rusher, and a good first down carry to the 30. Stanzel 9 carries, 78 yards now. 1 week after he ran for 167 against Alabama State.
And if they can continue to get him going, he's been the bright spot for him. And he came in with high expectations running the football. He's shown some flashes of it. And if he can continue to run the football runs like that, Valley can come in here on the road and get the W.
How about this average starting field position? Miserable for Mississippi Valley State in the first quarter. Obviously helped starting at the 5-yard line because of the turnover to skew that second quarter number. Second and short, they'll take advantage of it to throw, but there's a flag down as Arthur Miley got to Eddie Ivory with the ball popping loose. They'll say that he was down, and we'll await the ruling on this flag. Eddie Kelly, our head referee.
I don't know if that's a flag down or that just may be a piece of the band equipment from halftime that's showing up there. It's yellow. It looks like a flag.
Yeah, you're right. It's all 3rd down and 2. They work out of the pistol. Straight ahead for Stanzel. For a first down to the 36-yard line. French out west with a stop. And this ground game working early for Mississippi Valley.
This is what you want to have. And a good team, you get an opportunity to go into halftime with the lead, make some adjustments. And it's important. You can really set the tone for the second half by getting a nice scoring drive going. We know that Southern offense has pressure on them already because they haven't scored. But if you put them down by more than 1 score,
First and 10, straight ahead. Trey Batiste, pickup of 6. And big chunks of yardage on this opening possession each play.
And they're able to run the ball on first down. If they can continue to gain 5, 6, 7 yards each first down attempt, makes it a lot easier. We saw the adjustment Southern made towards the end of the first half, bringing an extra guy in the box. And right now we see him going to it again. 7-man box versus 6 in the box for Mississippi Valley.
They run it against that 7-man box, and Batiste into the second level into Southern Territory on a gain of 17. Franchot West made the stop, and Mississippi Valley having its way.
Oh, they're gouging them. Just run to the bubble. They come out in a 3-4 defensive look. Find a way to get your running back up to the second level in a hurry. They've got them guessing right now. They've been able to run against 8 people in the box, against 7 people in the box. Mississippi Valley showing some signs of life here in the second half on offense.
Batiste, who had just 3 yards during the first half, back-to-back solid gains there. Brandon Stansel back in. On 1st and 10 at the 42 against a loaded box. They run again, and this time the Southern front 7 there for the stop. Justin Woods, the true freshman making his first career start, was first to hit him.
And you mentioned it, the front 7 for Southern. Southern realizing they've got a problem trying to stop the running game. They've got 7 guys around the line of scrimmage right now, basically saying we can't stop you with just our front 4. So they're trying to bring extra guys close to the line of scrimmage. Here comes the 7th guy. Now you got to throw it.
And a zone read. Ivory pulls it and somehow gets close to a first down. Well, they wrapped the linebacker there, making the read tough, but he still made something out of nothing.
I mean, if you're defensive coordinator Dawson Odoms for Southern, you've got the right call made. You've got guys in a position to make a play. They just don't make the play. Great job by Eddie Ivory, showing the athleticism, able to make 2 Jaguar defenders miss in the backfield and almost pick up the first down.
Gain of 8, 3rd down and about a yard. It's Batiste fighting off first contact, toppling close to a first down. There to make the stop, Delwyn Williams. Very close on the spot. Says just short.
You got to go for it. I mean, I think there should be no question in their mind. You've had the ability to run the football. You're on the road. You've got a lead you're holding on to. 6-point lead. Keep the drive going.
They bring in some bigger personnel. Davis and Greer, a couple of fullbacks in front of Trey Batiste, who's 230 pounds himself. Batiste hurdles his way for a first down behind the block from Nathaniel Greer. Demekus Cook with a stop, and Mississippi Valley keeps this opening possession of the second half rolling.
Just get a lean. Everybody gets a lean. They brought in the big bodies, and Batiste able to hurdle his way for the first down.
Joe Nathan Davis also there leading the way. Batiste with a big load of this first drive. 10th play of this opening drive of half number 2 for Mississippi Valley. Off play action. Ivory rolling to the short side of the field. Kenneth Dabney with a reception. Into the red zone for Mississippi Valley. Second of the game for the junior from New Orleans.
And let's give credit to Eddie Ivory. I thought they might have made a quarterback change at the half. Footwork's not as polished as you would like it to be. Seems to get confused on which direction to go, but gets outside the pocket, delivers a strike to Dabney to keep this drive going. And signs of Willie Totten to Jerry Rice. Not quite, but they'll take it for now.
Signs of it, flashes of it. Willie Totten satellite.
Ah, you knew that. I was going to ask you that question.
There's a flag here.
Five-yard penalty. First down.
And they had 7 penalties, 55 yards on those 7 penalties during the first half. And here's their 8th already tonight. Stanzel back in the game at running back. And another flag down. Stanzel gets back to the 15.
Illegal format. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Stop.
struggles continue. Valley holding on to a lead in spite of penalty after penalty. And now what you're thinking here, if you're Eddie Ivory and quarterback and the offensive coordinator Flanagan, you've got to be thinking, okay, ball security's got to be at a premium. If we cannot score the touchdown, we can't afford to turn it over. If we just gain 10 yards, this should be a decent field goal attempt. And if you put 3 points on, which is 6, you still accomplish your goal, and you've got Southern down by more than 2 scores.
Mississippi back.
Opening drive of the second half for Mississippi Valley. The 11th play of this drive coming up when we come back. Tonight's Bringing the Flavor, brought to you by McDonald's. Welcome back to ESPN College Football Prime Time, presented by McDonald's. 6-0 Mississippi Valley State. The Delta Devils driving on this opening possession of the second half. 11th play coming up here. They've got both running backs in, Stanzel and Batiste. And off of the exchange, a fumble picked up by Southern's Kadeem Lewis. It was actually D-Train Lindsay there to pick it up. And finally a big play for the Jaguars.
Before the break we said they had to protect the football. They had at the very least put 3 points on the board to put Southern down by a touchdown plus some. But instead, poor ball handling by Eddie Ivory. Puts the ball in there too much on the fake to Trey Batiste. Ball's on the ground. And the Jaguars catch the break they need to try and get some momentum and get into this football game.
So now an offense that had 57 yards during the first half, averaging just 2 yards a play, goes back to work. Darius Coleman, the converted corner, probing and surging on first down for a solid gain into Mississippi Valley territory. Jeremy Johnson made the stop after a gain of about 7 yards, and it's 2nd down and 3.
And you can tell it seemed as if the offensive line got energized after the turnover created by the defense. That play was stuffed at the line of scrimmage, but they kept going as a unit, pushed forward and picked up 6 yards. Let's see if the offense continues to feature that running game and try and get some more push.
2 plays, 2 runs. Coleman again. Got close to a first down, but Jamil Franklin was there to yank him back. You talk about this offensive line, Jay. They returned 4 or 5 starters from last year, and this is the most experienced group on this unit.
And that should be why you shouldn't have to worry about quarterback protections. You should be able to run the ball. And when Stump Mitchell took over this program, he said, I want a balanced offense. For years, Southern University never went underneath the center. They were shotgun 100% of the time. Well, he went to a pro-style offense. In order to do that, you must have an offensive line that can run block and pass block. He thinks he has that unit, but they just have not showed up tonight.
7 in the box on 3rd down and 1, and Darius Coleman over the left side of the line behind Chris Brown and Zach Brown. Enough for a first down. Carlos Hollis with a stop. The first 3rd down conversion of the game for Southern. They're now 1 for 7.
Coleman, ball carrier. First down.
They told us they wanted to establish the run this week. Didn't do it during the first half. Clearly the goal to begin this second half. And Coleman, the workhorse on this drive. Robert Simpson tackles him after a short gain of 3, 2nd and 7.
The difference between the first half and the second half, Robert Simpson making that tackle behind, being pushed down 5 yards down the field, compared to in the first half he was making tackles in the opposing backfield. Now you see they put a little hit on him. You know, what do? Find their best defensive lineman, and you tell your offensive lineman to stuff them. Looks like they may be making some of those changes they need, get more physical with Simpson up front in the trenches.
Sylvester Nzikwe in at running back, taking the fake off play action. Hauled in for a first down and more inside the 20. It's Bradley Coleman with the reception.
Good job here by the tight end of giving the fake on the edge and then getting out here to the second level throw. You're going to see him get a clean release, fake it, then get there, show up. Good throw, good sell by Bradley Coleman, the tight end. Had everybody thinking it was a run, then bounced to the outside. If you've got a good running game going, that play action becomes almost unstoppable because the defense must respect the run.
Redshirt freshman out of Norcross, Georgia, making his first career start today. Getting his second career catch to set up first down and 10 to the 20. Nzikwe nowhere to run. Jamarco Goldsberry there on the stop, along with LaPoyer Franklin. And that is a loss of 5 yards, 2nd and 15.
Just bringing bodies, nowhere for them to go. They're trying to run lead power. A great job by Goldsberry, number 93. Beating the one-on-one block, making the tackle for loss in the backfield.
Goldsberry, a senior out of Arkansas. They're so bad on third down during the first half. Part of that is being bad on first down. A straight drop and a screen. Nzikwe with blockers in front. And Nzikwe is inside the 20 to set up 3rd and short. Carlos Hollis finally made the tackle after a gain of 12.
Good job of selling the screen here. Looking hard to his right, then dropping the screen off to his left. Setting up the blockers. They flanked out the fullback, Ryan McCain. Lined him up as a slot wide receiver so he could serve as a lead blocker for Nzikwe.
Let's take a look at how Mississippi Valley State's defense is doing in the red zone, brought to you by Verizon. And how about on third down, 4 for 26 offenses against Mississippi Valley coming into this week 3. About it on the snap. He's able to recover and hand it to Nzikwe, who's swallowed in the backfield. Rico Saw, the backup D tackle out of Ruleville, Mississippi, drops him for a loss of 7, and it was 3rd down and short. It's now 4th down and 10.
If you're going to call that running play on 3rd down to try and catch the defense slipping, you cannot have that bobble between the quarterback center exchange. That half-second delay allowed the defensive line for Mississippi Valley to penetrate the line of scrimmage and stop them short, well short.
Freshman Gregory Pittman to attempt a 37-yarder. Trying to get the Jaguars on the board. And the freshman from New Orleans misses just wide right. And the distance, but offline. And Stump Mitchell's team still searching for its first points. ESPNU College Football Primetime brought to you by Pennzoil. Pursuing the latest oil technology because we love cars just as much as you do. Looking at the current state capitol building located in downtown Baton Rouge, constructed in 1929. Turned home to the Louisiana State Legislature, 450 feet tall, 34 stories high. Largest state capitol building. Guys starting at the 20. Brandon Stansel has the ball pop loose. Southern's on top of it. Never called him down. Javon Allen was there.
They're ruling him down.
That's a late call.
That's a fumble.
They're marking him down, and a little bit different from the MEAC conference where they utilize instant replay for all television games. This game does not have the use of instant replay. He was down. I think you could make the argument that the knee was down. It was a. So this will be the look you need right there.
Yeah.
Knees down. And then they pulled it out there.
So it's a gain of 4. Stansel sits down and Trey Batiste comes in.
It's a good job by the officiating crew to recognize that knee was down. That was a bang play.
Here's Batiste. with a first down run behind Johnson and Davis on the right side of the line. Trey Batiste, one of the leaders of this offense, has really worked hard on his stamina, so he's able to carry more of the load later in the game.
You bring in Batiste at 230 pounds, 5'9", and stands at 5'7", 185. That's that thunder lightning combination. So many college teams like to have the dual running back combinations. Fumble.
Back to the line off of the shoulder pads of Batiste. But Mississippi Valley's dodged a couple of bullets on this drive.
And I don't know why Eddie Ivory always just seems so nonchalant carrying that football. The footwork is not fundamentally sound in the running game. That's something you just have to do by repetition after repetition. Grab that ball, put it in your belly, then you put it in the running back's belly. But several times tonight we've seen that timing that you need in the running game to be effective not be there at all in Mississippi Valley.
2 drives in this half. We've seen the ball on the ground 3 times. One of them Mississippi Valley State got it. One of them Southern got it. And the other time they marked them down. 2nd and 12. And Batiste come down at the line of scrimmage. The helmet came off because it's not the result of a penalty. He'll have to come out for a play. New rule this season. And an injured player. We'll step aside, let you know who it is when we come back. Back in Baton Rouge, the only points of this game coming because of a special teams miscue.
The ball hit the center and hit the punter in a bad spot, right in his hand.
Yeah,
he laid it down on the ground, and a play later, Mississippi Valley took advantage of it with Trey Batiste going in for the only touchdown of the game.
You see Virgil Williams with those 105 return yards. That's more yardage than Southern has as an offense. And Williams is a corner.
He's been very explosive, been the best player on the field.
Michael Bell, you see there, was one of the injured players along with Javon Allen. Both of them seem to be okay. 3rd down and 9 for Mississippi Valley. Three down lineman for Southern. And Ivory to throw on the corner route. Kenneth Dabney with a reception. Thinks he's playing in the NFL. That moves the chains up to the 49 and a completion of 16 yards.
If they can ever just make completions like this and pass attempts like this, it's wide open for the taking. One-on-one coverage, simple out route from the slot receiver. That's football 101. Coach Morgan can't get too excited because the only time his team has scored is when they've been given the ball on the 3-yard line. So is this the drive where Mississippi Valley can move the ball into the red zone and put points on the board?
Crowd in the box. There's 7 men on this first down play. High snap, pulled down. That play was doomed from the start as Brandon Stansel got back to the line of scrimmage. Tackle made by Casey Narcisse, the Louisiana Monroe transfer. That brings the 3rd quarter to a close. Mississippi Valley with some offense, but stalling on the turnover. And as we go to the 4th, it's 6-0 Delta Devils trying to pull off the upset here in Baton Rouge. In Baton Rouge, let's look at Walker's Weekend Watch, edition number 2.
A great quarterback play. We know about
start of the 4th quarter. Eddie Ivory in this Mississippi Valley offense out of the pistol and a flag before we even run a play.
And that's just bad offensive football.
Penalty. 2nd.
I mean, there's certain things that you don't do at offense. You don't come off of a timeout or a quarter break and get an illegal formation or bad break. You tell your team to play on the sideline. If they've got any questions on where to line up, ask it when you're on the sideline. Your coach is right there.
10th penalty of the game for Mississippi Valley. Coming in, only 4 teams in the country at the FCS level more penalized.
Nobody deeper than 6 yards from the line of scrimmage when they snap that ball.
Ivory pulls it on the zone read. Can't quite get the corner as Michael Bell runs him down. But he does get 8 yards across the 50. And it's 3rd down and 7 yards coming up.
Everybody's inside, stuffed on the run. Had he been able to get this corner, that would have been a touchdown. That was the free safety you saw coming up there, Michael Bell. That's how close he was to the line of scrimmage. Southern University is playing I dare you football. You know what that is? I dare you to try and throw a pass right now. They're daring them. Crowd the line of scrimmage. Everybody's up close. Man-to-man coverage. Extra guy in the box. Look, the deepest guy. This is the free safety. 6 yards from the line of scrimmage.
Pressure on 3rd and 7. Ivory throws with the defender draped on top of Richard Drake. Incomplete. Jonathan Mack, the senior out of Newark, New Jersey, with the coverage and the punt team out of the field.
You know, and if you're going to bring that much pressure and leave the middle of the field that wide open, you've got to get to the quarterback. They force him to throw the ball early.
You got this press coverage and you run a curl.
Yeah, when you get press coverage, man-to-man, you don't want to do curl routes or out routes. You want to do crossing routes, post routes, vertical passing routes. If you settle for a curl, then the defense wins.
We had 10 punts during the first half. This is the first one from Carlos Sanchez. And Virgil Williams, who had a monstrous first half in the return game, won't get his hands on this one. Good job by Sanchez to angle it away inside the 10.
Sanchez, the punter, clapping as he leaves the field. Good job of angle kick and directional kick. Thereby Sanchez keep it away from Virgil Williams.
Jay, we got a full lineup to get you ready for the action this Saturday. 9 o'clock, Chris Fowler and the boys going to take for this Southern offense, Jay. 92 yards through 3 quarters.
Balance. Everybody do their job. When the passing game is working, the running game, the protection's breaking down. And the quarterbacks making bad throws, the receivers are dropping balls when he makes good throws. Everybody just do their job. I think right now, when you fall behind, you tend to press. And everybody's pressing right now. Lack of concentration by the receiver looking it in. Offensive line missing a block or a snap count. You know, if you're a quarterback, you're trying to get it going. Throw a perfect ball. And look, what do you say? You know, now you want to show a little bit more leadership because nobody's perfect, but that's because they're pressing right now. They're down by 6 and yet to score.
Sylvester and Zeke into the game at running back. They pump and let it fly. Lee Doss pulled it in. Huge play for the Jaguars to the 44. 34-yard completion. First big one of the day as he beat Marquez Floyd.
Great body control here. This is the hitch and go. Gave him a good pump fake, then throw the ball to the outside. Watch the readjust by Doss. Ball's over his outside shoulder. Able to get that foot plus a knee in. Drug that foot along. Great job. Great concentration by Lee Doss.
More of a featured role in the offense tonight with Charles Hawkins out with a hamstring injury. Biggest play of the day for Southern. First down and 10 at the 45. Joseph wings it to Darius Coleman. A gain of 7. Carlos Hollis with a stop. 2nd and 3.
And now they're in business right now to think as poorly as they've played as a unit. If they can put some points on the board right now, they can take control and have the lead in this game. And the Mississippi Valley defense has been phenomenal this evening. But right now, it's gut check time.
This team is not deep when you look at Mississippi Valley State. Can they hang around? Out of the eye on 2nd and short. Good penetration from Jameel Franklin, the outside linebacker. Ployer Franklin was also there. Kevin Woods. A lot of white shirts swarming to the ball, and it's 3rd down and about 3.5. Southern 1 for 8 on 3rd down, Jay.
And they need to convert right now, and that's Robert Simpson, who we profiled in the first half, who was a force since we saw him get banged up on that play. He's yet to return back to this contest. Talked about the Delta Devils not being very deep. Right now, they're very thin.
Joseph front of design, quarterback draw. Spins inside the 35 for a first down. Carlos Hollis got him down and a big pickup of 15.
No, hey, they got one of their interior linemen out. How do we run the ball in the middle? Great fake, 1, 2, 3. Then you run it back. Coleman just acts as a lead blocker. Ray Joseph showing some niftiness, picking up the first down.
I like that call there.
Good call. I think it was a very solid call.
Timeout. South.
Wow.
Southern takes its first time out of the half. 11:43 to go in Baton Rouge. The Jaguars down 6, but driving. Back at Mumford Stadium in Baton Rouge, a couple of storied programs here in search of their first win of the 2012 season. It's 6-0 dealt the Devils, but the Jaguars driving. And Darius Coleman on first down. For a short gain, Jeremy Johnson out of the cornerback spot to make the stop.
And let's hope it doesn't come into play, but 11 minutes in the fourth quarter, and you got to call a timeout. Now, you hope that you won't need those timeouts, but if you get in a football game this close, if you're trailing by a little bit and you need to get the ball back, you're going to have to go back and question why you had to call a timeout, you know, in the fourth quarter on something that was a formation-related type of call.
Take that water in. Take that water in.
Take a look at the injured player. Let's look at our power rankings. Give me 5, Jay.
I'll say, you got to tell me, give you 5. Well, here go your 5 right now. Alabama State, number 5. They're still in there. I still expect them to compete for a SWAC championship. Number 4, South Carolina State. Got beat by Bethune-Cookman. They've got to go down a little bit. Number 3, Norfolk State. Behold, the green and gold. They're still undefeated on the year. Great non-conference victory versus Liberty. Number 2, Big Blue. Tennessee State's coming out. Florida A&M, Jackson State, they beat them both, enough said. And the number 1 team in all of black college football, Wildcats. Bethune-Cookman. Brian Jenkins has them playing at a high level.
Jay, it was Jameel Franklin that was injured on that play, the outside linebacker. 2nd down and 7. Straight drop for Joseph. Pocket collapsing. Able to escape and throws across his body, incomplete. Lee Doss was wide open. It's 3rd and 8.
He had Doss. Doss found a soft spot in the secondary. Good job of protecting the football, athleticism, getting outside the pocket, head downfield, has the vision, can't step into the throw, ball sails on him. Missed opportunity for a game-changing play.
When he'd been really good in this half after struggling in the first half. Two of 9 on 3rd down today.
Neither team knocking it out of the park, but right now, if you're Southern University, you just need to get one right now. That could really make the difference if they can keep this drive going. And, you know, you look with 11 minutes to go, the type of ball game it's been, this very easily could be 2-down territory for Southern University. If you're able to pick up 7-8 yards, even if you take it to 4th and 1, 4th and 2, you got to think they'll probably go for it. You don't know how many opportunities you'll have.
That's Tramarco Goldsberry, senior out of Arkansas, getting to his feet.
And on that top 5 power rankings, you saw I had next up, first out, Alabama.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. The only undefeated team in the SWAC, and they're not in your top 5, Jay.
Man, it's been ugly. I mean, they won their first game of the year 7-6 by a point. Offensively, they're struggling. They can't put it together in offense, so kind of tough for me to get them there until they show me they can score some points.
Shift at the line of scrimmage on 3rd down. Defensive end got back over the line of scrimmage. No flag. The flag does come out as Joseph runs for close to a first down. They might have had a free play there. Looked like LaPloyer Franklin had gotten back.
I thought by the time the whistle had blown, I mean, it seemed like, you know, they're trying to say that the right tackle move, and if that's the case, I mean, he was clearly back. He was clearly back.
Outside defense. Penalty. Third down.
I mean, if the right tackle might have moved, then you could have said he forced him to move, and then they would have thrown the flag, but he was back in plenty of time.
11th penalty of the day on Mississippi Valley State. And it takes 3rd down and 7 and makes it 3rd down and 2.
Mississippi Valley, second charge.
Second timeout of the half taken by the Delta Devils. Now just getting the college football weekend started. Got 2 great ones on ESPNU Saturday at noon. It's Logan Thomas, the junior quarterback, driving at Pittsburgh at noon, and then 3:30.
Getting outscored. They've got to get it going. Not an easy task trying to stop Logan Thomas. He's another one of those big quarterbacks that you've got now in the ACC.
Split backs on 3rd and short. Joseph steps out of a tackle, runs for a first down. What a play by Dre Joseph. 9-yard gain to extend the drive. Rico Mazik made the stop after he stepped out of the tackle of Franklin.
I mean, individual effort here all the way. They bring the pressure. He doesn't recognize it. Franklin's got it. That's their lead tackler. No. And then you've got Robert Simpson, who got back into the game. He can't bring him down. Fantastic individual effort by the quarterback, Dre Joseph from Southern University.
Kevin Woods was the first guy to have a shot. You couldn't wrap him up.
I mean, that's your starting middle linebacker. He's got to make that tackle.
Southern had 92 yards of offense through the first 3 quarters. Midway through this 4th, they've got 67. A short drop, and it was too short of a drop. What a surge from that defensive line. LaPloyer Franklin was there for this defensive line that's in the top 10 in the country in sacks.
Most experienced defensive lineman they have on the roster. And one thing you've got to know as a quarterback, if that clock is going off in your head, you take a 3-step drop, the line's only supposed to set for 2.5 seconds.
Boy, didn't get much help from Darius Coleman.
And look at this. This is the helmet rule taking effect right here. The helmet you see right there at the end of the replay, the helmet comes off of Dre Joseph. It wasn't a penalty related. So now they've got to go to the backup quarterback.
It's J.P. Douglas, who had the winning touchdown pass against Mississippi Valley last year. They called for a timeout right before the ball was snapped.
Timeout. Southern.
Whoa.
Charge. That'll be a 30-second timeout.
They were fortunate there, because had that timeout not been called, Douglas dropped the snap. He bobbled the exchange from the center, and that ball was on the ground. Very fortunate for Southern University. That's where the new helmet rule, I think. Let me take. This is the play with Joseph there. He holds on to it, and this is where the helmet rule is going to have an impact on this game. No penalty was called. Helmet comes off. Must go out for a play by rule. And let you do the reading of it, Joe.
All right, if a player, or if during a down, a player's helmet comes completely off, I'm not going to read it directly, but you get the point. If it's not caused by a penalty, you've got to go out for a play.
Yeah, and that penalty means, like, if a defensive lineman were to rip off the helmet from somebody, that would be a face mask or personal foul. Then the player would get to stay in the game. But if it comes off accidentally, like you saw there, then the quarterback in this case for Southern must come out for one play. It could be a big play.
2nd and 16, J.P. Douglas will look to throw. Now takes off. Fumble! And Mississippi Valley's got it. What a huge call that was, having to come out for a play. J.P. Douglas comes in cold, and LaPloyer Franklin there to make the stop. Cedric McFeel with a fumble recovery.
Good job of getting by the initial line of scrimmage, but this is just a good solid hit. He's got that ball away from him a little bit, and Kevin Woods, who missed the tackle on Joseph a play earlier, number 53, comes there and puts a big knock right on the football to free it and to give the Delta Devils the football back. That's why you got to like the game of football. See, Woods looks bad when he misses a potential drive-saving tackle in the backfield, and he comes right back and forces the fumble.
So Mississippi Valley takes over. A stretch play for Stanzel, who gets the corner. And the last man that had a shot to stop him was Virgil Williams, who did after a gain of 6.
You know, it's going to take almost 10 men on the line of scrimmage to make Mississippi Valley throw this football right now. I mean, right now they're backed up. You know they are not going to take any chances with the football. Put it in the hands of their best player, who's been Stanzel. And the Southern's going to have to bring everybody up to the line of scrimmage, and even then I don't think they'll check out of it.
We've seen 6 or 7 in the box and have them still running against it. Almost 8 in the box with a safety creeping up. Cut back lane for Stanzel, who's cut down by Bell, and it's 3rd down.
One more stop now. Let's go. Come on now. Let's go. Know what the hell you doing?
Michael Bell, the senior out of Jena, Louisiana, forces 3rd down and 2. Do you consider play action here?
No, because they're crowding the line of scrimmage, and if you go with the play action fake, I don't think they're going to throw it. You try to get a bootleg action outside there. Quarterback turning his back to the defense is not what you want to do when they're crowding the line of scrimmage that close.
6 on the line of scrimmage, 9 in the box for Southern. On 3rd down and 2, incredible penetration coming, then no chance. It was Benet Pryor who got the start in the first game, off of the bench today, but came untouched over the right side of that line.
You see this, just a great jump. Snap on the ball by Pryor. Completely disrupts that play. Stanzel just trying to find some place to go. Surrounded by blue jerseys.
Now the ever dangerous Virgil Williams received the punt from Carlos Sanchez. More than 100 return yards during the first half for Williams. Gonna get a shot from the 45. Williams with space again. Bouncing to the sideline. First down at the 16. 40-yard return for Virgil Williams. And just like that, Southern finds itself right where they were before the turnover. Now Williams is down. The training staff taking a look as we go to break. What a day it's been for Virgil Williams. Almost 150 return yards. Setting the Jags up inside the red zone. Down 6 with 7:14 to go.
Yep.
A couple of defensive battles here on the ESPN Family Networks on this Thursday night. Dre Joseph back in at quarterback on 1st and 10 at the 16. Quick throw into the flats for Lee Doss. Kevin Woods flies over to make the stop, and it's 2nd down and 6. Now Virgil Williams, 141 yards returning. He's been their best source of offense.
He has been the difference maker, winning the battlefield position. Now, one more challenge. Can they capitalize? But more importantly, if they are fortunate enough to put a touchdown on the board and get the lead, they're going to need him for his defensive prowess in the secondary. Got to watch that injury very closely, and they've got to be hoping they can get him back in this football game.
Mississippi Valley State crowding the line, and a flag flying from the near side. It'll be false start.
False start. Offense, number 2. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
Lee Doss, who got him the 4 yards on 1st down, just cost him 5.
If you're Dre Joseph in this situation, whenever I got a penalty inside the red zone, if you back me up 5 yards, I didn't mind. That means I have more room to work with. And that's the confidence you have to have as a quarterback to think 5-yard penalty, no problem. Pretty sure a coach is going to try and run the ball on 2nd and long. More room to work with.
2nd and 11. Pressure comes. Back close to the line of scrimmage. Rico Mazik out of the middle linebacker spot was there. And now it's 3rd down and long.
And I think that Mississippi Valley saw the film when Southern played New Mexico, and in that game, although they moved the ball well, Joseph got hit. I counted 11 hits on him in the game. Tonight, he's gotten hit probably at least 6 times. So they're getting pressure on him, and the offensive line for Southern, which they thought was a strength, is getting outplayed tonight by a very aggressive Delta Devil defense.
Southern 3 for 10 on 3rd down today. This is 3rd and 11, and a drop play to Coleman. Across the 15. Kevin Woods there on the stop. What are you going to do,
This is gut check time right now. How much faith do you have in your offensive defense? Well, they're going to run it. They had the blitz there. He did a good job of getting by the first blitzing linebacker and even picking up any yardage. They're going to roll the dice.
0 for 1 on 4th down in this young season. Fourth down and 6. Play action right in his face. Carlos Hollis throws it, and it is intercepted. Jeremy Johnson came on to get the pick, and it was the safety blitz from Carlos Hollis that blew up the play.
What happened on that play? It seemed as if the wide receivers were getting ready to run block, and they just never had the timing on that. You're going to see the blitz come from the safety. They're bringing the pressure without question, but you've got wide receivers going downfield. The running back's almost looking like, why didn't I get the football? I think that was a blown play. I mean, you can tell by the release of the wide receivers that I was looking at. Nobody was really hustling. I don't know if that was a run play or was supposed to be a play action pass, but maybe they didn't get the figure in there. But not the way you want to have a call go when the game's on the line, pretty much.
7 turnovers through 2 games for Southern. Now, because Johnson intercepted and didn't knock it down, the shadow of their own end zone as they go to Trey Batiste on 1st down.
And the good news is, I mean, they're going to get another chance. But we talked about lack of timeouts. So if Williams is healthy, you got to be thinking they can maybe get a good, decent return back. If Mississippi Valley could get 2 first downs, though, they could put this football game away.
Brandon Stansel replaces Trey Batiste at running back. They want it. They've got one-on-one down to the near side. He fumbled the snap. A scramble for the ball. Mississippi Valley's got it. And a discussion between Wesley Steele and Eddie Ivory.
Well, let's see, does he bring it all the way up? Oh, that's in his breadbasket.
Not the first time we've seen that tonight.
Yeah, real loose hand footwork by Eddie Ivory all evening long, and fortunate to get that back.
Southern trying to get the ball back. 3:20 left to go in Baton Rouge. Stansel trying to get the corner.
He's got a crease. Good run.
Out to the 12. Shy of the first down. Demekus Cook there with the tackle.
He almost broke that. There was a lane outside. Great block by the wide receiver, Julian Stafford. He bounced it to the outside. There was some daylight. Had he gotten past that last defender, that would have been a game-clinching touchdown run.
Virgil Williams does come onto the field to receive this punt.
You've got to kick it away from him. I think the way your defense is playing, wherever he lines up, and I know you're on the short side of the field, but you've got to sacrifice some distance. I would aim for about the 40-yard line, near 40-yard line.
A low snap. And a punt that gives Williams a chance off of the bounce. This time, special teams solid from Mississippi Valley. One last chance for Southern. Down 6-0 in the home opener. 2:20 to go. ESPNU College Football Primetime presented by McDonald's. I'm loving it. And in part by Lexus. Introducing a stunning work of technology, the entirely new Lexus ES. Look at the Southern University Museum of Art as we move down the stretch here at Mumford Stadium. Opened in 2001. Great facility here in Baton Rouge. From the 42, Ray Joseph to throw. That pocket collapses right away. Stepped out of a tackle to feed Lee Doss for a short gain. This defensive line has been the story in the second half and really all game for Mississippi Valley.
As my old coach said, the defensive line for Mississippi Valley is getting it. They are getting after the quarterback. They've got everything pinned back, coming forward, straight ahead. Fritz, Shaw, Goldsberry, Franklin, Cook.
2nd and 8. Flag down as Doss makes the catch at midfield.
It's probably a holding.
And there's a receiver downfield. Number 80 on the offense. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
And that's just because he was covered up. And that's something schematically you've got to get through that. You can't afford these penalties. Week 1, okay. Week 2, 3, you can't have that.
8th of the day on Southern. 2nd down and 12 inside of 2 minutes. Plenty of time. Joseph on the move. Coleman able to hold on to it. Or Michael Berry able to hold on to it. At the 46. Clock continues to roll.
Good job here by Joseph outside the pocket. And Berry makes the grab. And he goes down there. Good call.
3rd and 6. Threw it behind his intended receiver. Great job by Berry to squeeze it. But it's 4th down and 2. Ball game coming up right here.
One timeout. If they don't get it here, this is a wrap.
Mississippi Valley State needs one more stop. Joseph surges. And he got a good spot,
He
Jay.
got a great spot. Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
Chain set. Clock rolls. Against a 4-man pressure. Joseph can't take a sack.
Can't do it. You've only got one timeout. They've got to burn it now. They've got to call the timeout.
LaPloyer Franklin with a stop. And with 52 seconds remaining, Southern keeping their hopes alive with a 4th down sneak from Dre Joseph. Down 6-0 inside of a minute here in Southern.
Hi, everybody. Rich Hollenberg in studio. Coming up after the game, we're in studio with Jason Sehorn and Charles Arbuckle. Jim Calhoun calls it a career. Notre Dame, Michigan State headlines a marquee Saturday. And whither Tyler Wilson? Will he and should he play against Alabama? Joe?
All right, thanks, Rich. 6-0. Mississippi Valley State in top. They've taken a timeout following the Southern timeout. 52 seconds to go. Mississippi Valley thought they'd gotten the stop to what would have been finished the game, but they got a favorable spot.
Yeah, 4th down. They needed 2 yards. They've got to get to at least, you see up here, at least the 48-yard line. 2 yards they need. If we run this, where does he go? He's down there at the 49. At best, his helmet is at the 48-yard line. He got the spot at the 47-yard line to give him the 1st down and keep the ball game going. That was not a good spot, if you ask me.
Scrambled for a yard on 1st down, 2nd and 9. 4-man pressure, a quick throw. Incomplete. Marquez Floyd there to knock the receiver out of bounds. Here's Michael Berry. Now it's 3rd down and 9.
And something that Joseph has to be aware of, he can't afford to get tackled in bounds. A couple times they've been close to getting the sack on him. If you get a sack right now, that pretty much could end the game.
Both teams out of timeouts. Two receivers each way on 3rd down and 9. Joseph given time. There's a flag down back at the line of scrimmage, and the ball's dropped.
Whoa.
Michael Berry couldn't hang on, but it might not matter.
And there's a receiver downfield. Number 80 on offense. 5-yard penalty. Third down.
Well, Berry dropped the ball, but also see if he was covered up. An eligible receiver downfield. That's close.
And to be fair, it's not Berry's fault.
Yeah.
If he's covered up.
You know, outside guys got to be on them. Well, here we go.
Decline the penalty, so 4th down. They converted 4th and 2 on this drive already. Last chance for Southern. A screen with pressure. Rocco's in front for Coleman, who's got a first down. Inside the 35. It's a gain of 12. They can't stop the clock.
What a gutsy call. What a gutsy call. Now, they can't stop the clock, so it will stop while they set the ball forward for the first down, but as soon as they blow the whistle, the clock's going to go.
And Joseph spikes it to stop the clock with 22 seconds. Boy, waited until the final moment to dump off that screen to Coleman.
I mean, what a call. You got everything right, and you know you need at least 10 yards plus. They go with the screen of the running back. Missed block there by the offensive lineman. Missed tackle. Very fortunate, but the game still goes on. Hope for the Jaguars.
22 seconds left. 1st and 10 at the 34. 4-man pressure gets to him, and that very well could do it.
That's going to do it. They're going to have one play to maybe take a shot at the end zone. The offensive line's been outplayed all game.
Clock down to 5. Spikes it with 2. There's the story of this game in a nutshell.
You know, we say that Dre Joseph cannot get sacked, but that's not his fault. He had absolutely no time to drop back in the pocket. And the MVP of this football game is clearly Franklin, Goldsberry, Cook, Fritz. The defensive line for Mississippi Valley came motivated, and they are 2 seconds away from their second victory in 2 years, and this is on the road.
Last chance for Southern. Joseph, who's got a strong arm, throws it down the sideline for Doss. It's incomplete, and the game is over.
Whoa.
Mississippi Valley State with its second win in the last 3 seasons. 6-0, the final score. Coming up next, Sports Center U. Jay and I will be back in just a moment, but now let's send it to Rich Hollenberg and the guys in the studio.